Please subscribe to this channel if you want to know the reasons why some people hate you for just no reason. And for more Stoic lessons like this. Sometimes people dislike you, not because you harmed them, but because your presence reminds them of something they have not fixed in themselves. That is one of the hardest truths to accept. Not every negative reaction is your fault. Not every cold attitude means you did something wrong. In many cases, people resent what exposes them. They resent peace because they live in inner noise. They resent discipline because they live in excuses. They resent confidence because they live in self-doubt. Stoicism teaches you not to be shocked by this. The world does not always punish what is bad. Sometimes it resists what is strong. So in this message, we are looking at the kind of qualities that can make some people dislike you for no clear reason, even when you stay respectful, calm, and focused. Stay with me, because this is not about becoming arrogant. It is about understanding human nature so you can stop taking every reaction personally and keep building yourself without apology. One quality that makes some people secretly resent you is calm confidence. There is something unsettling to insecure people about someone who does not need to prove themselves all the time. When you are calm, when you do not chase approval, when you speak without desperation, and when you carry yourself with quiet certainty, it can bother people who are used to measuring their worth through attention. They may call you proud when you are simply composed. They may call you distant when you are simply self-contained. The truth is, many people are comfortable around visible insecurity because it makes them feel superior. But when they meet someone who seems at peace without external validation, they start feeling exposed. Stoicism teaches that real confidence does not shout. It stands. And because it stands, it often becomes a mirror that others do not enjoy looking into. Another quality that makes people dislike you is discipline. This is especially true in a world full of delay, excuses, and easy distractions. When you are consistent, when you keep your word, when you stay focused, and when you continue improving yourself, some people will not feel inspired by you. They will feel irritated by you. Your discipline highlights their lack of it. Your commitment reminds them of the promises they keep breaking to themselves. This is why some people mock serious people. It is not always because discipline is unattractive. Often it is because discipline makes the undisciplined uncomfortable. A Stoic person understands this and keeps moving. You cannot shrink your standards just to make undisciplined people feel safe. If your growth bothers them, let it. It is better to be respected by a few than accepted by many for staying small. A third quality that can make people resent you is independence. Some people do not like those who cannot be easily controlled. When you think for yourself, make your own decisions, protect your time, and refuse to be emotionally manipulated, those who benefit from weak boundaries may begin to dislike you. They may say you have changed. They may accuse you of acting differently. But often what they really mean is that they no longer have easy access to your energy. Independence threatens people who are used to control, especially if they built their power around your need for their approval. Stoicism teaches self-rule. It teaches that your peace should not be rented out to whoever demands it most. The moment you become harder to pressure, harder to guilt-trip, and harder to influence through emotional games, some people will naturally pull away or turn against you. That is not always a loss. Sometimes it is proof that your boundaries are finally working. Another quality that often creates silent hatred is authenticity. In a world where many people perform, filter, adjust, and shape themselves to fit every room, someone who is genuine can make others uncomfortable. When you stop pretending, when you stop copying energy that is not yours, and when your words match your character, it becomes hard for fake people to relax around you. Your honesty threatens the masks they depend on. Your consistency disturbs the image they are trying to sell. Some people do not hate you because you are difficult. They hate you because you are real in a world built on image management. Stoicism values truth over performance. It teaches you to care more about living rightly than being endlessly liked. Not everyone will reward that. Some will resist it. But authenticity may cost you false acceptance while gaining you true respect. A quality that also makes some people dislike you is emotional control. People are used to reactions. They are used to being able to provoke, pressure, trigger, and pull others into emotional mess. So when they meet someone who does not react easily, it unsettles them. When you do not argue over every insult, when you do not collapse under every criticism, when you do not explain yourself to every doubter, some people become frustrated because they cannot control the direction of the situation. Emotional control can look strange to those who live through impulse. They may call you cold because you do not panic. They may call you fake because you do not explode. But Stoicism teaches that strength is not found in dramatic reaction. It is found in measured response. The person who governs their emotions becomes difficult to shake, and that alone can provoke resentment in people who depend on emotional chaos to feel powerful. Another quality that can make people hate you for no obvious reason is self-respect. This quality changes everything. The moment you stop begging, stop over-explaining, stop tolerating disrespect, and stop chasing people who do not value you, some individuals will instantly dislike you. Why? Because self-respect closes doors that weak behavior used to leave open. It tells manipulative people that they cannot use guilt as a weapon. It tells careless people that they no longer get unlimited access to you. It tells disrespectful people that you are not available for mistreatment just because they are in the mood to give it. A person with self-respect does not need to become rude. They simply become clear. And clarity is dangerous to those who benefit from confusion. Stoicism teaches dignity, and dignity often irritates people who were more comfortable with you when you had none. Another thing people often hate without admitting it is your ability to move on quietly. There is something deeply frustrating to certain people about someone who does not beg to be understood, does not chase closure from everyone, and does not keep performing pain in public. When you lose something, learn from it, and keep walking with composure. Some people feel robbed of the drama they expected from you. They wanted to see you broken longer. They wanted to see you begging, reacting, spiraling, or publicly proving how hurt you were. But when you carry your pain with dignity, it disrupts their expectations. Stoicism teaches endurance without spectacle. That kind of quiet resilience can make some people admire you, but it can also make others resent you because they cannot feed on your collapse. Some people will also dislike you simply because you are not easy to read. This does not mean being secretive or fake. It means you do not reveal every thought, every emotion, every fear, and every plan to everyone around you. In a world where many people overshare and expose everything in real time, restraint can look unusual. But restraint is powerful. It makes you harder to manipulate, harder to predict, and harder to reduce. Some people become suspicious when they do not have full access to your inner world. They are uncomfortable with mystery because they are used to control. Stoicism teaches that not everything needs to be explained. A wise person knows that privacy protects peace. And sometimes the very fact that you are measured with your words makes others uneasy, because they cannot immediately place or dominate you. People may also resent your standards. Not your attitude, not your words, just your standards. When you stop accepting low effort, inconsistent behavior, broken promises, and half-hearted relationships, some people will accuse you of acting difficult. But often they are reacting to the fact that your standards now require them to either rise or leave. Standards expose laziness in others. Standards reveal who only liked you when access to you was cheap. Stoicism teaches that your life should not be run by appetite, convenience, or fear of rejection. It should be guided by principle. The moment you begin choosing quality over attention, peace over chaos, and depth over noise, some people will resent the shift because they no longer qualify for the version of you they had grown comfortable using. Another hard truth is that some people dislike your growth. They liked you better when you were unsure of yourself, easier to influence, more available, more dependent, more apologetic, and less aware of your value. But growth changes relationships. It changes how you speak, what you tolerate, what you pursue, and where you place your energy. Not everyone celebrates that. Some people only support your progress as long as it does not disturb their position in your life. The moment your growth demands new boundaries, clearer decisions, and stronger self-respect, their support disappears. Stoicism prepares you for this. It teaches that growth is not always applauded, even when it is good. You must be willing to lose shallow approval in order to keep your character intact. Your silence can also make people uncomfortable. Silence is powerful because it forces people to sit with their own thoughts. It gives them less to grab, less to twist, and less to use against you. In many situations, silence is not weakness. It is control. But people who are used to noise often misread silence. They interpret it as arrogance, judgment, or distance. Sometimes your silence bothers people because they cannot figure out where they stand with you. Other times it bothers them because it reveals how much they rely on constant talk to feel secure. Stoicism teaches you that not every moment needs commentary. The person who can remain silent without becoming awkward often carries more presence than the person who fills every gap with nervous words. Another quality people hate without reason is your refusal to compete. Some people are always comparing, always trying to prove something, always measuring status, attention, success, and influence. When you refuse to enter that race, it can annoy them. Your refusal to compete denies them the game they need in order to feel important. A Stoic mindset is not obsessed with outshining everyone. It is focused on self-mastery. And that kind of focus often confuses people who live off rivalry. They do not know what to do with someone who is improving quietly, refusing petty contests, and remaining steady without needing public victory. But that quiet refusal often reveals the strongest kind of confidence. Another reason some people hate you is because your presence reminds them that excuses are a choice. When you keep going despite difficulty, when you stay disciplined without perfect conditions, and when you refuse to make your struggles your identity, people who live through excuses can become defensive around you. Your existence makes it harder for them to justify staying stagnant. You do not even have to say anything. Your consistency says enough. Stoicism teaches responsibility. It reminds us that while we cannot control everything, we can control our response. And that truth can be deeply irritating to people who have built comfort around blame. Some people will dislike you because you do not need the crowd. This is a rare quality now. Many people are terrified of standing alone, thinking alone, or walking away from what is popular. But when you can stand apart without panic, it unsettles people who depend on numbers to feel right. They may label you strange, proud, or detached. But what they are often reacting to is your freedom. Stoicism teaches that the crowd is not always wise. Sometimes following the crowd is the fastest path to losing yourself. The person who can remain grounded without constant social approval carries a kind of strength that others may envy more than they admit. And finally, some people hate you simply because your peace exposes their chaos. This may be the deepest truth of all. When someone is full of inner disorder, insecurity, envy, bitterness, and unresolved frustration, they often react badly to those who carry steadiness. Your peace is not attacking them, but it still confronts them. It reminds them that another way of living is possible. And instead of becoming inspired, they become irritated. That is why you should not always measure yourself by who likes you. Sometimes dislike is not evidence of your failure. Sometimes it is evidence that your character unsettles what is undisciplined in others. The lesson here is simple but powerful. Stop assuming every negative reaction means you are doing something wrong. Sometimes people dislike you because you are growing in ways they are not ready to face. Sometimes they resent your calm because they have none, your discipline because they avoid it, your self-respect because they lost theirs, and your independence because they cannot control it. Stoicism teaches you to stay rooted in what is true rather than chasing universal approval. Not everyone will like strength when they see it. Not everyone will welcome a person who carries standards, boundaries, and composure. That is life. Your task is not to become smaller so fragile people can feel bigger. Your task is to remain honest, disciplined, and steady without letting resentment from others pull you off your path. If this message spoke to you, subscribe to the channel for more deep, realistic, and powerful Stoic lessons that help you build self-respect, emotional control, and a presence people cannot easily shake. Another reason people can start disliking you is your refusal to join in fake behavior. In today's world, a lot of social bonding is built on pretending. Pretending to agree. Pretending to admire. pretending to support what nobody truly respects. The moment you stop participating in that kind of dishonesty, some people begin to see you as difficult. But the truth is, your honesty is not the problem. The problem is that your presence makes their performance harder to maintain. A person who stays real without becoming rude often exposes how much of modern social life is built on pressure, image, and silent compromise. People can also resent you when you are comfortable being alone. This is more powerful than many realize. A person who can sit with themselves, think for themselves, and build their life without constantly needing noise, company, or distraction has a kind of strength that others notice immediately. Many people stay in bad friendships, weak relationships, and unhealthy circles because they are terrified of solitude. So when they see someone who would rather walk alone than stay where they are not valued, it unsettles them. Your comfort with solitude becomes proof that dependence is not necessary, and not everybody wants to face that truth. Another valid quality that can trigger hate is consistency. People praise discipline in theory, but in real life, consistent people often make others uncomfortable. Why? Because consistency removes excuses. When you keep showing up, keep working, keep improving, and keep carrying yourself with order, you become a quiet standard. You do not have to lecture anyone. Your life starts speaking on its own. And many people do not enjoy being reminded that progress comes from repetition, not mood. They would rather call you extreme than admit that your consistency reveals their lack of commitment. Some people dislike those who do not seek pity. This is very real. In many environments, people are used to gaining attention through victimhood, emotional display, or public suffering. So when you go through pain without making it your identity, it can confuse them. When you struggle without advertising it, endure without performing it, and recover without demanding constant sympathy, people may misread your strength as coldness. But what they are really reacting to is your refusal to turn hardship into social currency. Stoicism teaches endurance with dignity, and that kind of dignity can irritate people who are used to being carried by sympathy instead of character. Your ability to say no can also make people dislike you for reasons they will never admit openly. A lot of people only seem kind while they still have access to you. The moment you refuse a request, reject a poor offer, decline an invitation, or set a limit, their attitude changes. That tells you something important. Some people do not hate your personality. They hate your boundaries. They were comfortable only when your life had no gate on it. A person who says no calmly and without guilt becomes difficult to use, and those who benefit from weak boundaries often respond with resentment. Another strong point is this: people may dislike you because you are hard to tempt. In a world where many are led by pleasure, ego, attention, money, lust, and quick approval, a person who cannot be easily pulled off course becomes unusual. When you are not impressed by every trend, not seduced by every opportunity, and not desperate for every form of attention, people start to realize they cannot influence you the way they influence others. That can bother them. Your restraint becomes a reminder that not everyone is available for cheap distractions. Some people will resent your patience. This may sound strange, but it is true. Patient people are dangerous in a world built on impulse. When you do not rush, do not panic, and do not force outcomes, you show a kind of inner stability many people do not have. They may mistake it for slowness or passivity, but deep down what unsettles them is that you are not reacting like everyone else. You are not easily shaken by delay. You are not driven into foolish decisions by pressure. Stoicism teaches that patience is strength under control. It allows a person to wait without collapsing, and that kind of discipline is rare. People can also hate the fact that you recover. Some are comfortable with your pain as long as it keeps you beneath them. They are fine when you are lost, rejected, doubtful, or weak. But the moment you rebuild, learn, regain your confidence, and move forward, something shifts in them. Suddenly your healing becomes offensive to those who had grown comfortable with your wounds. This is why not everyone who stayed around during your low season will be happy to see your rise. Some people only like the version of you that needed them. Another valid point is your refusal to gossip. A person who does not speak badly about others in private often becomes strange in circles built on hidden negativity. Gossip is a cheap form of bonding for many people. It gives them something to share without requiring depth, honesty, or real character. So when you refuse to join in, when you stay quiet, change the subject, or protect someone's dignity in their absence, some people begin to dislike you. Not because you did anything wrong, but because your restraint exposes their smallness. Integrity often creates distance between you and those who feed on weakness. People may also resent your clarity. Clear people are hard to confuse, hard to delay, hard to manipulate, hard to keep in emotional fog. When you know what you want, what you do not want, what you will accept, and what you will walk away from, you become a problem for those who rely on mixed signals and psychological games. Clarity forces truth to the surface. It ends the comfort of maybe. And many people do not hate confusion itself. They hate the loss of control that comes when you are no longer confused. Another reason some people hate you is because you improve without announcing it. Quiet improvement can be more threatening than loud success. When you disappear into your work, sharpen your mind, clean up your habits, protect your peace, and come back stronger without explanation, people notice. They notice the new discipline, the new confidence, the new restraint. And because you did not make a speech about it, because you did not ask for permission, because you did not perform the process in public, it hits even harder. Silent growth unsettles people who depend on noise to feel significant. Your refusal to beg for understanding can also make others angry. There is strength in not chasing everyone down to explain your intentions, defend your choices, or force people to see your heart correctly. Mature people know that some misunderstandings are not accidents. Some people misread you because it benefits them to do so. Stoicism teaches you to stay rooted in your conduct, not trapped in endless image management. The more calm you become about being misunderstood, the more certain people may resent you, because they expected easier access to your emotions. Another quality that brings resentment is self-containment. Some people do not know what to do with a person who has an inner life. Someone who thinks deeply, moves carefully, and does not expose every internal process can make others uneasy. They want quick access, quick reactions, quick emotional transparency. But a self-contained person does not rush to reveal themselves. They take time. They observe. They protect their center. That level of inward order can be deeply frustrating to people who are used to immediate emotional entry into everyone else's mind. People can hate your standards even more when you apply them to yourself first. This is important. There is a difference between being judgmental and being disciplined. When you expect a lot from yourself, hold yourself accountable, and live with private order, some people still become defensive around you. Not because you attack them, but because your life quietly raises the question they are avoiding. Why am I settling for less from myself? Your example becomes uncomfortable, especially to those who want the rewards of discipline without the cost of it. Another hard truth is that some people resent those who remain difficult to corrupt. If flattery does not move you, pressure does not break you, money does not blind you, and popularity does not control you, you become hard to recruit into foolishness. That kind of person cannot be easily bought by approval or fear. Stoicism calls this inner freedom. But to people who build their influence through temptation, compromise, or emotional leverage, your freedom feels like rebellion. And sometimes people hate you simply because you remind them of who they could have been. This is one of the deepest forms of resentment. You may carry a quality they abandoned. Discipline they once wanted. Peace they once hoped for. Integrity they traded away. Courage they keep postponing. Your life becomes a quiet reminder of roads they refuse to walk. That kind of reminder can create admiration in the humble, but in the bitter it creates hostility. They do not hate you for what you did to them. They hate the version of themselves they meet when they stand next to you. The strongest lesson in all this is that being disliked is not always a warning sign. Sometimes it is simply the cost of carrying yourself with order, truth, dignity, and restraint in a world that often rewards confusion, access, weakness, and performance. Stoicism does not teach you to become cruel, arrogant, or emotionally distant. It teaches you to become stable. And stability will always unsettle those who are committed to disorder. So stop reading every hostile reaction as proof that you should become smaller. Sometimes the right path naturally creates friction with people who are more comfortable when you had less self-respect, less direction, and less peace. That is why you should never build your life around being easy to like. Build it around being honest, disciplined, calm, and clear. Let people misunderstand for a while. Let insecure people project. Let manipulative people get frustrated. Let shallow people call you strange. In the end, what matters is not whether everyone is pleased by your presence. What matters is whether your character stays intact while they react to it. If this message reached you, subscribe to the channel for more deep Stoic lessons on self-respect, emotional control, discipline, and quiet strength.